The Varginha incident is one of the most eerie and puzzling UFO encounters in modern history, and it all started in a small Brazilian town in 1996. To this day, the strange events that unfolded in Varginha have baffled investigators.
Very detailed information about the existence and the capture of these two. One capture in the morning and one at evening of the same day, January 20, 1996.
Stirred up conspiracy theories and left people wondering, did Brazil have its own Roswell?
Call it another Roswell, if you will. That is a crashed vehicle that had beings on board, apparently.
Let's dive into this mysterious case and see what really happened, at least according to the witnesses, UFO enthusiasts, and those brave enough to speak out.
The military officer, the guy that drove the creature around, I was sitting across from him. You can't see his face, but I did.
January 20th, 1996. It was an ordinary day in Varginha, a small town nestled in the hills of Minas Gerais, Brazil. The town itself was quiet, filled with humble houses and coffee plantations. But something was about to shake this sleepy town to its core. On the afternoon of January 20th, three young women, Lilian, Valkyria, and Katia, were walking through an empty lot when they saw something that would change their lives forever. It was around 3 p.m., broad daylight, when they noticed a figure crouched near a wall. At first, they thought it might be a human or maybe an injured animal, but as they got closer, they realized this was something they had never seen before. The creature was small, around 4 feet tall, with dark, oily brown skin. It had large, bulging red eyes, and its head was oddly shaped, almost as if it had been deformed. The girls described it as having a strange odor, like sulfur or ammonia, and it appeared to be injured or sick, barely moving. Terrified, the three women ran away, screaming in fear. They hurried home and told their mother what they had seen. Of course, like most people would be, their mother was skeptical at first, thinking they had probably just encountered a strange animal. But when she saw how shaken they were, she began to wonder, what exactly did they see? Aliens spotted by others. That same day, reports started circulating around town about strange sightings. It wasn't just the three girls who had seen something unusual. A few locals claimed they saw military trucks and personnel arriving in the area, particularly near where the girls had spotted the creature. This sparked rumors that the Brazilian military was involved in some kind of cover-up. Witnesses also reported seeing strange lights in the sky around the same time, glowing orbs hovering in the air before disappearing into the night. The story quickly spread through Varginha, and more people started coming forward with their own strange encounters. A local farmer claimed he saw a UFO crash, and some said they heard loud noises coming from the forest late at night, as if something large had fallen from the sky. But the strangest reports came from those who said they had seen not one, but two creatures, and that the military had captured them. Some witnesses even claimed to have seen soldiers carrying strange, body-sized bags into military trucks, leading to speculation that the creatures, whether dead or alive, had been taken away for further investigation. Military involvement, the cover-up.
Nada temos a esconder. Pelo que eles estavam fazendo no dia do acontecimento? Trabalhando. Prol do exército e prol da nação.
If there's one thing that makes the Varginha case even more intriguing, it's the alleged involvement of the Brazilian military. People in town started noticing an unusual amount of military activity right after the sightings. There were reports of soldiers blocking off certain areas, particularly where the creature was seen, and patrolling the streets. Some claim that the military was called in to deal with a downed UFO. According to these rumors, the Brazilian government had been aware of extraterrestrial activity in the region for some time, and they were ready to act. Witnesses said they saw military trucks and personnel entering a local hospital, where it was believed one of the creatures was taken after being captured. Even more suspiciously, hospital workers reported that military officials had visited them, warning them to stay silent about anything they might have seen. One nurse, in particular, was said to have interacted with the creature, and shortly after, she allegedly disappeared under mysterious circumstances. Some believe she may have been silenced for knowing too much. But what were the military really doing in Varginha? Were they just containing a mass panic, or was there something far more sinister going on?
The military officer, the guy that drove the creature around. I was sitting across from him. You can't see his face, but I did.
Hospital incident. Medical staff.
Lado de fora do pátio, com o portão fechado, ficava caminhão da ESA, militar. E dentro do pátio ficaram mais Jeep com militares e mais, acho que tinha mais ou menos umas de 8 a 10 viaturas da polícia. Não entrava ninguém e não saía ninguém.
In the days following the incident, stories began to emerge about the creature being taken to a local hospital. The creature, which had apparently been captured by military personnel, was said to have been alive when it arrived, but in poor condition. Witnesses who were either working at or visiting the hospital that day described a heavy military presence, armed guards, trucks, and even doctors who appeared to be outsiders brought in specifically for this case. The most curious part of this chapter in the Varginha story comes from eyewitnesses inside the hospital. One doctor, who spoke under anonymity years later, claimed to have been present when the creature was brought in. He described it as a small humanoid being with features that didn't match anything he had ever seen before in his medical career. The creature was weak, and its health was deteriorating rapidly. Even more mysteriously, the doctor claimed the creature communicated with him, not through words, but mentally, as if it were telepathically transmitting its fear and confusion. Despite the doctor's attempts to stabilize the creature, it reportedly died. According to this version of events, the military quickly took control of the body and whisked it away, leaving no trace. Hospital staff were allegedly ordered not to speak about what they had seen, under threat of military action. Could it be that Brazil had come face to face with an extraterrestrial, and the government was working furiously to keep it under wraps?
Pessoal que estava lá dentro, você fez o seu trabalho, muito obrigado. Encerra por aqui, não comente nada do que você viu, que você fez.
Strange passing away of a soldier.
Marco started feeling ill. He said his skin felt greasy even though it wasn't. Over the next 2 weeks, his condition worsened and he was admitted to the hospital. None of the doctors could figure out what was wrong with him.
Perhaps one of the most disturbing aspects of the Varginha incident is the mysterious passing away of Marco Eli Chereze, the military police officer who was reportedly involved in capturing one of the creatures. According to his family, Chereze was in good health before the incident, but began experiencing flu-like symptoms shortly after coming into contact with the being. His condition worsened rapidly, and he was admitted to a hospital where doctors struggled to diagnose the cause of his illness. He died a few weeks later from what was officially described as a bacterial infection.
At the age of 23, Marco Chereze died of an unknown cause.
But his family and colleagues believe he may have been exposed to something far more sinister. Chereze's sudden and unexplained incident added fuel to the fire of conspiracy theories surrounding the Varginha incident. Many UFO researchers believe that Chereze was exposed to some kind of extraterrestrial pathogen, while others speculate that his passing was part of a military cover-up. Despite requests for an autopsy, Chereze's body was quickly buried.
The doctors said an autopsy wasn't necessary and ordered a closed casket service. They also had his body buried immediately.
And the Brazilian military has consistently denied any involvement in the events. Additional eyewitness testimonies.
Então, foi por causa dos barulhos. Barulho dos gados, muito em volta da casa, que me chamou a atenção. Aí eu saí na janela e avistei.
Beyond the initial encounter and the military's response, several other Varginha residents came forward with their own strange experiences. One of the most compelling testimonies came from Eurico and Aurelina de Freitas, a local couple who lived near the reported crash site. On the night of January 19th, Eurico and Aurelina claimed they saw a large, cigar-shaped object hovering over their property. The object made no noise, and it appeared to be emitting a strange, bright light. They watched as it flew over their field before disappearing behind a hill. The next day, rumors of the UFO crash began to circulate in the town, and the couple believes what they saw may have been related.
Observei vários destroços, pedaços, e ao descer do carro já senti imediatamente cheiro de amônia, parecia ovo podre.
Another significant testimony came from Carlos de Sousa, a local farmer who reported seeing a strange metallic object flying erratically through the sky on the morning of January 20th. Sousa described the object as having the appearance of a submarine with no visible wings or engines. He watched as the object appeared to lose control and crash into a nearby field. Sousa later visited the crash site, where he saw debris scattered around and noticed a strange, acrid smell in the air. Within hours, he claimed, the military had arrived and sealed off the area.
Go away?
Yeah.
What?
Manda embora, manda.
So then he pulled his gun out and said, I'm ordering you to go away.
The press gets involved.
Dois seres extraterrestres foram capturados, pois posteriormente foram levados para.
As with any mysterious event, word spread fast. Soon, local and national media began picking up the story, and before long, it had reached international headlines. Brazilian UFO researchers quickly descended on Varginha, interviewing witnesses, gathering evidence, and trying to piece together what had happened. The case gained so much attention that it attracted the interest of well-known UFO investigators from around the world. Many compared it to the Roswell incident, suggesting that, like Roswell, the Varginha event might have involved an extraterrestrial craft crash and a government cover-up. Some even speculated that the US government may have been involved behind the scenes, helping the Brazilian military contain and study the alien beings. One of the most compelling pieces of evidence supporting the Varginha incident is the sheer number of eyewitnesses who came forward. Over the years, dozens of people have claimed to have seen the creatures, the military activity, and the strange lights in the sky. While skeptics argue that mass hysteria or a misidentification of known animals might explain the sightings, believers point to the consistency of the reports as proof that something extraordinary happened in Varginha. Skepticism and alternative explanations. Of course, no UFO story would be complete without a fair share of skepticism. Many have tried to explain away the Varginha incident as a case of mistaken identity. Some believe the creature seen by the three girls might have been nothing more than a deformed animal, possibly a sick or injured monkey, which could explain its strange appearance and behavior. Others have suggested that the military presence in the area was simply a coincidence, perhaps part of a routine exercise or response to unrelated incidents. After all, it's not unusual for locals to misinterpret military activity as part of a larger conspiracy, especially in situations where strange lights or mysterious creatures are involved. In recent years, some researchers have gone even further, suggesting that the entire incident may have been a hoax, either perpetrated by the original witnesses or exaggerated by the media. Despite these alternative explanations, many people remain convinced that what happened in Varginha was a genuine extraterrestrial encounter. UFO researchers take.
Very detailed information about the existence and the capture of these two. One capture in the morning and one at evening of the same day, January 20, 1996.
Brazilian UFO researchers like A.J. Gevaerd have dedicated years to investigating the Varginha case. Gevaerd, along with other UFO enthusiasts, has gathered testimonies, documents, and even sketches from witnesses in an attempt to keep the case alive. According to them, the incident wasn't just about seeing a strange creature, it was about an entire sequence of events that seemed too interconnected to be mere coincidence. These researchers argue that the military's involvement, the behavior of witnesses, and the reported health problems experienced by some of those who came into contact with the creature all point to something otherworldly. They've even claimed that some witnesses were later harassed or threatened by government agents, adding to the sense of secrecy and conspiracy, which is why it reminds many people of a similar incident that happened before. The Varginha incident and the Roswell incident are often compared due to their striking similarities. Both are widely regarded as two of the most significant UFO encounters in history, involving strange sightings, reports of extraterrestrial beings, military cover-ups, and ongoing debates about what truly happened. While the Varginha case is often dubbed Brazil's Roswell, the Roswell incident, which occurred in 1947 in New Mexico, USA, is arguably the most famous UFO event of all time. Let's dive into the Roswell incident and see how it parallels the Varginha case, creating a mystery that spans continents and decades. The Roswell incident. In early July 1947, the small town of Roswell, New Mexico, became ground zero for a mystery that still lingers today. The incident began when a local rancher named Mac Brazel discovered a field scattered with strange debris on his property in Lincoln County. The material reportedly included rubber strips, tinfoil, paper, and sticks, though Brazel himself couldn't identify what it was. Thinking it could be a wreck from a military aircraft, Brazel contacted Sheriff George Wilcox, who in turn reached out to the Roswell Army Airfield, RAAF. The initial report, flying disc found. At first, the military issued a stunning statement. They had recovered a flying disc. This initial announcement on July 8, 1947, sent shockwaves through the media, and headlines across the nation blared news of a UFO being captured by the U.S. military. However, within 24 hours, the narrative took a sharp turn. The military swiftly retracted the statement, claiming the debris was actually from a weather balloon used in a classified project called Project Mogul. The military cover-up.
The initial report was that the military had found a flying disc, so it was picked up by newspapers across the country.
This sudden shift in the official story was the first sign that something more mysterious might be at play. The military explained that the debris was part of a top-secret balloon project designed to detect nuclear tests in the Soviet Union. While this seemed like a plausible explanation, many people remained skeptical, particularly given the initial announcement of a flying disc recovery. In the days following the retraction, witnesses began to come forward with conflicting accounts. Several military personnel, ranchers, and townspeople reported seeing unusual material at the crash site. Some described the debris as being incredibly light, yet unbreakable. Others claimed to have seen hieroglyphic-like symbols on the wreckage. These strange details did not match the description of a simple weather balloon, fueling further speculation. Alien bodies reported.
Of all the many witnesses with stories to tell about Roswell, his have been perhaps the ones that have been disbelieved most.
Perhaps the most controversial and debated aspect of the Roswell incident is the claim that alien bodies were recovered from the crash site. In the years after the event, several witnesses, including former military personnel, came forward to claim that small, humanoid remains were found near the wreckage. These beings were described as having large heads, slender bodies, and almond-shaped eyes, fitting the now iconic image of a gray alien. One such testimony came from Glenn Dennis, a local mortician who claimed that he received a call from the Roswell Army Airfield asking for small-sized coffins.
Glenn has been outspoken for decades about what he has seen, and of course his testimony has been dismissed and discredited by the experts.
According to Dennis, this was an unusual request, and when he later spoke to a nurse who worked at the base, she confided that she had seen alien bodies being examined by doctors.
She said, "You have to give me a sacred oath that you will not ever mention my name or not." She said, "You can get me in a lot of trouble, but I'm going to tell you, you don't know where you got this." I said, "What do you mean by a sacred oath?" She said, "I mean like cutting your arm off." That's what she told me.
Dennis's story remains one of the most well-known civilian testimonies connected to the Roswell incident.
That are clearly not human. The government is in possession of extraterrestrial beings.
The aftermath and investigations. For decades, the U.S. government maintained that the debris recovered at Roswell was from a weather balloon. However, the incident continued to capture the public's imagination, with UFO researchers and conspiracy theorists arguing that the military had covered up evidence of extraterrestrial life. In 1978, UFO researcher Stanton Friedman reignited interest in the case by interviewing Jesse Marcel, the intelligence officer who first handled the debris in 1947. Marcel claimed that the material he examined was not from a weather balloon, but something far more unusual and unexplainable. In 1994, the U.S. Air Force released a report stating that the wreckage was indeed part of Project Mogul, a classified program involving high-altitude balloons designed to detect nuclear tests. They also claimed that the reports of alien remains were likely a mix-up with crash test dummies used in later balloon tests. Despite this, many continue to believe that the government is hiding the truth about what really happened in Roswell.
Would you ever open up Roswell and let let us know what's really going on there?
So many people ask me that question.
I know, it sounds almost ridiculous, but it's actually the real question I want to know.
It sounds like a cute question, but it's actually, there are millions and millions of people that want to go there, that want to see it. I won't talk to you about what I know about it, but it's very interesting. But Roswell's a very interesting place.
Parallels with the Varginha incident. The Varginha and Roswell incidents share several uncanny similarities, which is why Varginha is often called Brazil's Roswell. UFO sightings and crashes. In both cases, eyewitnesses reported seeing unidentified flying objects crashing or malfunctioning before the military arrived on the scene. In Roswell, it was a mysterious debris field, and in Varginha, locals reported seeing a cigar-shaped craft behaving erratically in the sky. Alien beings. One of the most striking similarities is the reported sightings of alien creatures. In Roswell, several witnesses claim to have seen small, gray-skinned beings at the crash site, while in Varginha, the 3 women encountered a strange humanoid creature in the city. In both cases, military forces quickly intervened, and rumors spread that aliens were captured alive. Military involvement and cover-ups.
The military officer, the guy that drove the creature around, I was sitting across from him. You can't see his face, but I did.
Both incidents were swiftly followed by heavy military presence. In Roswell, the U.S. military cordoned off the area, issued contradictory statements, and later downplayed the incident. In Varginha, the Brazilian military was seen patrolling the area, and reports emerged that soldiers had captured the alien beings. In both cases, the military's actions led to widespread suspicions of a cover-up. Witness testimonies. In both incidents, civilian witnesses came forward with conflicting accounts of what they saw, often describing strange creatures, unusual wreckage, and military activity. These testimonies have fueled ongoing debates and investigations, with many believing that the governments involved are hiding the truth. Passing away of key witnesses. In both Roswell and Varginha, the mysterious passings of individuals connected to the case have added to the intrigue. In Roswell, Jesse Marcel would later suggest that he had been pressured to remain silent about what he saw. In Varginha, Marco Ili Cerese, the military police officer who allegedly handled one of the alien beings, died under mysterious circumstances shortly after the incident. His sudden illness led to speculation that he had been exposed to something dangerous during the encounter. Speculation and theories. Both incidents have sparked a wide range of theories. In Roswell, the most common belief is that the U.S. military recovered an extraterrestrial spacecraft and its occupants, but covered it up to avoid public panic or to study the technology in secret. In Varginha, many believe that the Brazilian military captured living aliens, and that the government has been working in cooperation with other global powers to study the beings. And that happened just last year in front of the Congress. In 2023, one of the most startling and widely discussed moments in the realm of UFOs and extraterrestrial life came when alien bodies were presented in the Mexican Congress. These mummified remains were brought forward by Jaime Maussan, a journalist and UFO enthusiast, during a congressional hearing. The bodies, small in stature with elongated heads and 3 fingers on each hand, were said to be over 1,000 years old. Maussan claimed that these were not human remains and could potentially be of extraterrestrial origin. The images of these alien-like mummies sent shockwaves around the world, sparking widespread debate about their authenticity. The specimens were reportedly found in Peru and had undergone various studies to determine their origin. Maussan claimed that DNA testing was performed, and the results suggested that these remains were not related to any known human or animal species. However, the scientific community has remained skeptical. Many experts questioned the credibility of the find, arguing that the bodies could be hoaxes or misidentified ancient mummies. Despite this skepticism, the presentation of these supposed alien bodies in a governmental setting fueled conspiracy theories and captivated the public's imagination. This event wasn't the only significant moment in 2023 concerning UFOs and potential extraterrestrial life. Just a few months earlier, David Grush, a former U.S. intelligence officer turned whistleblower, made shocking damning claims about the U.S. government's involvement with UFOs and alien technology. Grush testified before Congress, stating that the government has been withholding evidence of non-human craft and even alien bodies for decades. He claimed that there were intact and partially intact alien vehicles in the possession of the U.S. government, and that extraterrestrial remains had been recovered from these crash sites. Grush also revealed that the government had established a non-human biologics program to study these beings. According to Grush, some of the crafts recovered were of non-human origin, and the remains of their pilots were being studied by secretive programs that even members of Congress were not fully aware of. His testimony was part of a larger historic congressional hearing on UFOs, officially termed Unidentified Anomalous Phenomena, UAPs, aimed at bringing more transparency to bodies, the public, about the government's knowledge of extraterrestrial life. What makes Grush's claims even more significant is that they come from someone who held a senior position in the U.S. government, working with agencies like the National Geospatial Intelligence Agency, NGA, and the Unidentified Aerial Phenomena Task Force, UAPTF. He stated that he faced severe pushback and intimidation when he tried to bring these findings to light internally, which is why he chose to become a whistleblower. In his testimony, Grush also referenced a covert program to reverse engineer alien technology, suggesting that efforts to replicate alien crafts have been ongoing for years. He claimed that the recovery of UFO debris had occurred as early as the 1930s, hinting that the cover-up had been happening for nearly a century. These revelations from Mousen and Grush have reignited public and governmental interest in the subject of UFOs and extraterrestrial life. While skepticism remains, the fact that such discussions are happening at the congressional level, involving high-ranking government officials and supposed physical evidence, marks a major shift in how UFOs and alien life are being perceived by mainstream society. The 2023 congressional hearings have opened the door for further investigations and potentially more whistleblowers to come forward, which could reshape the public's understanding of our place in the universe. The debate over the authenticity of the alien bodies and the validity of Grush's claims will likely continue for years, but the events of 2023 have undeniably made a lasting impact on the conversation surrounding UFOs and extraterrestrial life. Alien crash or government experiment? There are numerous theories surrounding the Varginha incident. One of the most popular is that an alien craft did indeed crash somewhere near the town, and the creatures seen by the girls and other witnesses were survivors or escapees from the wreckage. According to this theory, the Brazilian military quickly moved in to recover the crashed craft and capture or neutralize the extraterrestrials. But others have suggested an even darker explanation, that the creatures weren't aliens at all, but the result of some kind of secret government experiment gone wrong. Perhaps the Brazilian or U.S. government was working on genetic engineering, creating human-animal hybrids, or testing new forms of life. When something went awry, the creatures escaped, leading to the bizarre sightings in Varginha. Regardless of which theory you believe, one thing is clear. The Varginha incident continues to captivate and mystify nearly 3 decades later. Modern-day investigations. The Varginha incident might have happened in 1996, but interest in the case hasn't waned. In fact, thanks to the internet and platforms like YouTube, more people are learning about this strange event every day. Documentaries have been made, interviews have been conducted, and the debate over what really happened in Varginha continues. One of the most recent developments in the case came in 2012, when a former Brazilian military officer broke his silence and claimed that the Varginha creatures were indeed real. According to him, the government not only captured the creatures, but conducted experiments on them before disposing of the evidence. While this officer's claims haven't been verified, they've certainly reignited interest in the case. And so, the story of Varginha lives on, a modern-day mystery that, much like Roswell, may never be fully explained. Conclusion. So, what are we to make of the Varginha incident? Was it really an extraterrestrial encounter, complete with strange creatures and a government cover-up? Or was it simply a case of mass hysteria, fueled by rumors and misidentifications? The truth, as with many UFO cases, is likely somewhere in between. What's clear is that something strange did happen in Varginha in 1996, something that scared the witnesses and prompted an unusually strong response from the military. Whether that something was an alien craft or a more terrestrial explanation, we may never know for sure. But one thing's for certain, the Varginha incident was not created out of fantasy. Something did happen, something did crash there, and the government did, in fact, cover up something. Thank you for watching this video. If you want more of such content, let me know in the comments below. And if you have your own ideas, do share as well. Like this video and subscribe to my channel. Till we meet again.